About 25 minutes here, so let's make the most out of it. So let's can you tell the audience a little bit about your background and how you came to do what you're doing now?
Yeah, sure. So I'm a longtime Bitcoiner. I've done Bitcoin startups myself. The last Bitcoin startup that I did was called Bitseed. And we built plug and play Bitcoin full nodes. And I've also worked at other Bitcoin startups, including Abra, which is or was at the time like a P2P Bitcoin marketplace. Now they're just a general cryptocurrency exchange. And most recently, I started working on a project called Sovereign, which is building a suite of decentralized financial applications, contracts, and infrastructure on the Rootstock Bitcoin sidechain.
Sure, super. Thanks for that introduction. And what are you building there specifically at Sovereign?
Yeah, so Sovereign has a suite of different decentralized financial tools, including a decentralized exchange, which is based on automated market maker or AMM smart contracts, a borrowing and lending protocol, and the AMM and the borrowing and lending protocol are put together to create a margin trading protocol. And we also have a decentralized stablecoin borrowing protocol called Zero, which enables users to deposit Bitcoin as collateral and borrow a Bitcoin-backed stablecoin at 0% interest. And then most recently, we launched a tool called Mint, which is a Bitcoin-backed stablecoin aggregator, which combines multiple different Bitcoin-backed stablecoins together to create a new Bitcoin-backed stablecoin called the Sovereign Dollar. So that's our most recent protocol launch.
Yeah, that's super awesome. Yeah, I've been following Sovereign, and I did see that it does have a zero interest loan. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? That's fascinating. I mean,
Yeah, sure.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, so the basic idea is that users are able to lock their Bitcoin in a smart contract called a line of credit. And based on how much Bitcoin they lock into this smart contract as collateral, they can borrow a certain amount of stable coins. So the Zero protocol requires a minimum collateral ratio of 110%. So for every dollar worth of stable coins that you borrow from the protocol, you need to have at least $1.10 worth of Bitcoin pledged as collateral in your line of credit smart contract. And the protocol is able to offer these stablecoin loans at 0% interest because you're not borrowing from other users and therefore, competing with the market for a market rate interest rate. But instead, when you borrow stablecoins from the protocol, you're actually issuing those stablecoins into existence at the time that you create the loan. So you're kind of like borrowing the stablecoins from yourself in a way, or borrowing them from the protocol based on the Bitcoin that you've put up as collateral. So if
Wow,
you're
that's
familiar
super innovative.
with Maker over on Ethereum, it works kind of like Maker. The protocol itself is actually a fork of Liquidity, so it's most similar to Liquidity in the way that it works. But for people who have experience in the DeFi space, Maker might be a common reference point. It's a similar concept.
That's a good point that it's the like sort of like the logic is based on like a proven business model, but it's just re-envisioned with Bitcoin at the center, which makes it so much
Exactly.
solid for DeFi, right? And those are the innovations that I love the most. It's like I always sort of like cringe when someone says like they're going to innovate like 10 different things at the same time, right? Because I know that they're setting themselves up for a massive face plant. So, and a lot of the best innovations are actually, you take something that people that has been proven to work as a business model and people see value in, and then you take out that one component that would give it the 10x return. In this case, I believe it's Bitcoin, right? Put that at the
Yeah.
center, and then boom, you have like magic. You have huge returns, like a lot more value, a lot more security. Um, also paving the road for this sustainable Bitcoin economy. So, and on that point, what's your vision of the, in your words, how do you like what's the mental picture that comes up when you think about the sustainable Bitcoin economy? And let's like forward thinking a little bit. How do you see that playing out?
Yeah. So I think privacy is going to be a big like need um, as more and more people start to use Bitcoin for like multiplayer type of use cases, like P2P payments, um, shopping online or in person, buying things from merchants, business to business use cases, especially because oftentimes, the transactions that businesses are doing are kind of like trade secrets, or businesses want to hide their transaction activity from their competitors. And so I think privacy is a really big need, and therefore, a big opportunity for entrepreneurs in the space. I think once you have that privacy layer, there are a lot of opportunities for building out those tools to create like a circular Bitcoin economy. So merchant processing tools, P2P payments applications, accounting applications, so people can do accounting for their Bitcoin transactions or any of their DeFi activity. I think that there are opportunities for building out better solutions for self-custody, because I think that the user journey for going from buying Bitcoin on an exchange, or buying Bitcoin from even like a peer-to-peer marketplace like BISC, to going into a self-custody wallet, it has a very high barrier to entry and a steep learning curve. And so I think that simplifying that and making the self-custody journey easier for people is a very big need and opportunity. And and then once people are able to easily self-custody, then it's about building tools that enable people to actually use their Bitcoin. So I mentioned spending Bitcoin, so easy to use wallets. On the merchant side, merchant processing tools, like you could integrate, once you have like a privacy layer built on Bitcoin, like a strong privacy layer built with zero knowledge proof technology, you could integrate that with BTC Pay Server, which is an open source merchant processing tool. And that would enable people to store Bitcoin or sovereign dollars in a private way, and then privately spend those Bitcoins with various merchants that have integrated BTC Pay Server. And then integrating those tools with financial tools like Sovereign, whether it's an exchange or borrowing and lending, so that people can invest and earn returns on their Bitcoin or sovereign dollars. And you start to look at Bitcoin as less of just like, an asset that just sits there, and more like a productive asset, or even like a platform on top of which we can actually build a whole, circular Bitcoin economy that can sustain businesses and individuals and protect their savings throughout their lifetime. So it's almost cliche at this point to say like we're still so early, but like really, truly, as somebody who's been here for almost a decade or really over a decade now, I can tell you we are still early. There's a lot to build, and there's a lot of value left to create.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you for all that, John. So what because you just mentioned many great ideas that people could be building on, right? Can you tell me the top three? Like let's put it into context. So before the next Bitcoin halving, which is happening almost exactly a year from now, and in the context of, let's say, sovereign and
Mhm.
DeFi, what would be like your top three, like wish list? Like okay, you're busy. If you had more time, these are the top three that you would build and encourage our hackathon contestants to build. What are your top three if you have more time?
Yeah, so top three would definitely be like a zero knowledge privacy layer, so that with maybe like a simple wallet that people could use to privately spend their Bitcoin and sovereign dollars. And maybe if you partner up with somebody else, they could build integrations so that people could actually interact directly with DeFi tools like a DEX or borrowing and lending from the privacy layer. So people could like hold Bitcoin and sovereign dollars in the privacy layer and then interact with other protocols outside of that privacy layer in a private way.
Okay.
There's stuff like this that we see, on Ethereum and other chains that have these zero knowledge privacy layers, and it would be great to bring that kind of stuff to Bitcoin. Um, and then I think it would be really great to have um, uh, better actually tools for like creating DAOs. So there's this really cool tool that's out there called DAO House, which enables users to create DAOs with like one click, or maybe a few clicks depending on what kind of DAO they're creating. But it's just like a web app that users can use to easily create a DAO. And you can imagine, deploying that or integrating that software with Rootstock, which is the blockchain that Sovereign is built on top of. And so users could very quickly create a DAO on Rootstock, and that DAO could then, hold Bitcoin. And, people could get a group of friends together, create a DAO, and then they could collectively manage a pool of Bitcoin or sovereign dollars together, and either co-invest or support different projects that they're interested in, that kind of thing. I think there's a lot of really cool innovation happening in the DAO space, and we need DAO tools in the Rootstock ecosystem. So those are a few ideas that I think would be really high leverage and really great to have before the next halving, and could really help take Bitcoin to the next level.
Super, super. Thank you for that. And how would people get started on this? What's your recommendation? Because next week we had the technical crash course. Um, what kind of help can they get to hit the ground running, right? And start building something of value?
Yeah, so Rootstock is an EVM compatible Bitcoin sidechain. So if you're familiar with building on any other EVM blockchains, like Ethereum, Polygon, BSC, that kind of those kind of chains, then it's really easy to get started with Rootstock. In fact, a lot of the developer tools out there just support Rootstock out of the box as just another network that you can build contracts for, test against, and deploy to. But there's a Rootstock developer portal that you can check out for learning how to build smart contracts on Rootstock. For Sovereign, we have a wiki at wiki.sovereign.com, where you can find technical documentation about our existing protocols, including our contract addresses. So you can take a look and see, what different features are existing protocols have and how you can plug your applications into those. We also have our front end applications, which are all open source. So you can see how those are built, how those have been plugged into our smart contracts, and maybe build your own kind of front ends that plug into the same protocols in a similar way, but with new user experience, maybe some kind of new value proposition that gets added to it. And we have a integrations channel on the Sovereign Discord where you can drop by and ask any questions, and our developers will be happy to help with anybody who needs help integrating with any of Sovereign's infrastructure and smart contracts.
Super. So all those are great resources. We're going to reach out to you offline and get those resources from you. And we're going to include those in the hackathon care package on technical resources. So
Nice.
From my team. So, that definitely is a huge help for builders. And as you said, people who have already familiar building on EVM can hit the ground running with those resources, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, super. So do you have any last words to share with our audience, the builders on this hackathon?
Yeah, I would just emphasize again, we're still early. There's a lot of really cool stuff yet to be built, a lot of great value to be created. And in the case of Rootstock, as I said, it's an EVM compatible Bitcoin sidechain. So a lot of stuff that you see, really almost anything that you see on other EVM chains could be brought over to Rootstock. So if there are any interesting open source projects that you see on Ethereum, Polygon, BSC, Arbitrum, any of these other EVM chains, and you're like, I would love to see that, but for Bitcoin, if it's open source, fork it, bring it over to Rootstock, let's make it happen. This is what the value of open source is all about. It's taking good ideas and improving upon them. And that's what we can do by bringing these kinds of projects to Rootstock and to Bitcoin. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what everybody builds. If you have any questions about Sovereign or Rootstock, feel free to reach out to me directly. And I can also, help route your questions to anyone else who might be able to help.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're gonna invite you to our Discord server where all the hackers and builders and founders are going to be. They're gonna have a lot of questions. And I think that's great advice. First of all, the market timing is great right now. It's a blue ocean, right? It's like a ocean that has not been fished by fishermen, almost, right? So plenty of things to do. And if you know what works in another ocean, right, reimagine it on the biggest ocean, Bitcoin now, right? Reimagine it, and boom, there you go. That's a key to fast innovation. Right, just swap out the part and replace it with Bitcoin, and it's going to be awesome. Right, this is how we're going to build the sustainable Bitcoin economy together. So thank you for those inspirational words and the words of encouragement, and we look forward to seeing you next time, John. And we look forward to seeing you in our Discord server. So guys, audience, please sign up. Right, sign up, and then you'll get access to Discord server, and you'll meet John. And it'll help supercharge your Bitcoin journey. Thanks, John.
Yep. Thanks so much for having me, Albert.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Welcome back next time. Yeah,
awesome.
Thanks.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.